Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Debbie Belaus, and I'm the owner of Qigong with Debbie. I teach Qigong because it is a natural, preventive healing practice that anyone can do, but I have found it very beneficial for an older body. So I'm in my late 60s, and I have found that this practice has given me many self-care practices that I can use for the rest of my life. I like to call it my health plan for my lifespan. Anyway, I want to talk to you today about a particular practice called meditation. Now, meditation, most people know what it is, but a lot of people don't know how to do it, or if they want to practice it, find it very difficult to do. And I think it's because it's one of those practices that we're asked to sit still and not think about anything. And that could be really difficult to do. Especially we're just busy people and our minds are very busy. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what meditation can also bring is calmness and a quietude, a deep quietude within to help restore the body. And we need to do that on a regular basis, especially over the age of 55. The body breaks down very rapidly after the age of 55. And we can't do the same things we were used to doing when we were much younger. So we have to find ways to help kind of ease that tension that we experience on a daily basis. And the best way to do that, and the great thing about these Eastern practices like yoga and Qigong and Tai Chi, which I teach and practice and study, is that they give you practices that you can do on a regular basis to prevent any diseases from happening. You can stop something in its tracks if you understand your body in terms of energy and how to navigate your own health care for using self-care as your health care. And meditation, again, like I said, it's one of the harder practices to learn. So what I have developed is, I call it the pause. And it's a prerequisite to maybe a longer type of meditation. It's more of a way of getting your body to relax in a very short time. And it can be done. In 5 minutes, you can bring your body to a very relaxed state. But understanding the principle of it and doing the practice on a daily basis will get your mind and your body used to doing this. Again, we're not used to just being still and not thinking. Our minds were always thinking. It's called the monkey mind, and which that means that we have one thought that goes to another thought that goes to another thought. And again, that's not a bad thing, but in order to kind of relax yourself, especially mentally, is to quiet down the whole system. And the easiest way to do that is to connect with your breathing and to find, I call them anchors, an anchor to keep that mind from wandering off. So I like to start with just a why. Like, why would you even want to do this? So everybody's why is very different. So for me, my why to come to a pause on every day, at least once a day, or even throughout my day, my why is for ease, just ease, an ease of, ease kind of covers everything, and just an ease of life. And so my word is, and this is what you're going to kind of think about, is like, what would your why be to want to do a practice that's going to bring you relaxation and contemplation and also restoration? So you get those three things when you bring yourself into this pause like feeling. So just the first thing is getting a word that signifies why would you want to do this? What would you like to get out of it? And I always tell people, just think of one word, because one word is very easy for the brain to understand. If you use multiple words, if you use sentences, it's too much. So if you're always using the same word before you start this practice, then the mind's going to get very familiar with that. So then when you just say the word, at some point, it's just gonna go into that space. But again, we have to exercise the brain to do that. The other thing is, I like to bring my hands to my heart to actually touch. There is a hormone called oxytocin, and oxytocin is the love hormone. It's that feeling that you get when you fall in love, and I think we've all fallen in love at some point in our life, and that's either through a relationship, or that could be falling in love with your children, it could be falling in love with your pet, it could be falling in love with the project, with the job. It's just that very deep sense of love. And it triggers when you have that feeling of love, and then you produce this hormone called oxytocin, which is you just feel good. And there's different ways of bringing that up. Exercise helps to stir up that oxytocin. Also, touching, hugging, holding hands, holding a baby, holding a puppy. Music also stimulates oxytocin. Um, so those things could help. I like to call them, they're kind of, you're hacking in to a particular outcome. And the hacking in is more of a way to get something very quickly. So the hack here would be first to have that particular word that you want to, a feeling that you want to, bring up. And also by touch. So by simply touching your heart space and thinking of that word, and also thinking of self-love, bringing that love experience for yourself, just simply self-love. So every time you touch your heart with your hands, it's an introduction that you are coming into that pause, and you're also coming into this idea of self-love, of love. Also, the heart space, has a lot of energy. We hold a lot of love. You've heard this. You've heard a lot. Your heart is broken. Your heart, feels a lot of the love. So the heart is very familiar with a lot of these emotions. So by simply touching that space, you're starting to trigger that oxytocin. So again, another reason why you would come to a pause, because you want to feel good. So between that word that you're going to pick, between opening it up with just touching your heart, you're turning on that oxytocin hormone to start feeling good. And then the third piece of this would be bringing one hand to the belly and one hand to this upper chest, because we typically do not breathe fully and deeply. We typically just, most of us just breathe in the upper chest. And this is not a full breath. The full breath starts in the belly, and it comes up into the ribs, and then it comes up into the chest. And then as we exhale, it releases from the chest, from the ribs, and then to the belly. So that's a full breath. Now, if you see babies, if you're around a baby or child and you just watch them breathing or sleeping, you will notice how they breathe. They breathe very full, they breathe very deep, their whole body is moving with this breath. And then as adults, we start to lose that. We start thinking, and we start speaking, and then we're in shock all the time and emotionality all the time, that we forget to how to breathe properly like that. And all the breath is always done in this upper part of the chest. But the full breath is from the diaphragm, the rib cage, and also the upper chest. So by simply bringing your hands to these spaces, you can feel the breath. You're using it as an indicator that the breath is entering into the diaphragm and into the rib cage and into the upper chest. And then as you exhale, it releases from the chest, from the ribs, and from the belly. Now, this also acts as an anchor. So to not have the monkey mind jumping from one limb to the other, we have to anchor it. So again, first we anchor it with the why, the word that we want to feel. We anchor it also in the breath awareness. And then we also anchor it into that oxytocin, turning on that oxytocin hormone. And then we also anchor it with counting. So counting is probably the easiest for most people to do. And again, that's going to be your real anchors from the mind wandering off. And all you're going to simply do is count to 9. I'm just going to ask you to count to 9. And each inhale and each exhale is one count. And then you just stop it from there. And I'm going to have you experience this for yourself. Those are just the steps. So first, it's the why, the word that you want to bring into this practice. It's touching your heart to turn on that oxytocin hormone, because it's just going to make it easier to get into the space, getting that activated, because that's the good hormone, that's the love hormone. And then touching the belly and the upper chest also anchors you into your breathing. And then counting the breath is the last anchor. Now, the mind will wander off, I can guarantee you that. But if you can come back to the anchor, it'll bring you back in. So it's kind of like, I'd like to think of it as you seeing a child cross the street without holding your hand, and it's just going across the street, and it's like, oh gosh, you can't do that. It's like taking that child and bringing that child back in. That's how you're going to look at your thoughts. There's the thought, I'm wandering off. I'm going to take that thought and I'm just going to kind of let it go. And you come back to the anchor of the counting of the breath, and that'll bring you back into that space. So I'm going to guide you through this, and then you can kind of tweak it for your own liking. My breath counts is going to be probably different than yours. Some people breathe quicker than others. Some people breathe slower than others. But I just want to kind of guide you through this. So if at any point you're feeling that your breath isn't connecting with mine, I want you to eventually find your own rhythm of your own breath. The most important thing is that you're doing the 9 breaths and you're doing the inhale and the exhale as one count. But I'm going to lead you through this, and then the best kind of advice I can give about learning something new is if it feels right, if it feels good in your body, then it's probably good for you, and it's something that maybe you could do more often. Now, the idea of this exercise, it shouldn't take more than 4 or 5 minutes, and I find that that's just a great place to start. It doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're sitting in a quietude, it could seem like an eternity. Some people say, oh, it went so fast. Some people say, oh, it just seems so much longer than 5 minutes. The idea is, if you want to get the full benefit out of this, is that you do it at least once a day, and you do it for sure more times if you're feeling irritated, if you're feeling really stressed out, if you're feeling really confused, if you're really tired. Do it throughout the day. If it's only 5 minutes, you can add 5 minutes here and there. You can also do this, I always recommend doing this sitting on a chair. If you're sitting on a chair, you want your feet flat on the floor because you want to touch the earth energy below you, and have a pillow or something behind your back to support the back so you're not slouching in, and you're keeping the spine nice and upright, relaxing the shoulders and feeling that energy moving from the crown of the head up. And so you want to be comfortable. You can also do this sitting on the floor if you want to. Some people like to cross leg and sit. You can do that. Again, make yourself comfortable. Make sure there's something behind your back still. What you don't want to do is slouch. You don't want to slouch because remember, we're expanding our body with this breath, and slouching is just going to compress. Now, some people use this practice also for helping them to fall asleep, and you can do this lying down. So if you're lying down, you can do the same thing, and it will probably make you so comfortable that you'll fall asleep. Once you feel like you can stay longer even, because that will happen. You'll just start noticing, oh, I can do more than one set of 9 breaths because now I'm getting used to it. Then just start with another 9 and keep doing as long as you feel comfortable, stay as long as you can. You can also have a timer nearby if you think you're going to go over a certain amount of time and you have to go somewhere. Just put a timer on your phone, on your watch, for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if you feel like you don't have that much time. So it's kind of regulating it for you, so you don't get stressed out about, oh, when am I doing this too long? But this is the precursor to eventually, if you want to get into a deeper meditation practice. But this is just called the pause. This is going to just bring you into that state to maybe go deeper into a meditation practice, or you never have to. You might just love the pause and just stay with the pause. So again, if you're using the same word, if you get a word that really resonates with you, try to stay with the same word for at least a month, because the mind's going to get very used to that word coming up. And as soon as you say, it's kind of like Pavlov's dog. If you keep doing it more and more, then when you say the word, your mind and your body's going to go right into that expression of what you're trying to feel. Or if you just put your hand to your heart, that also might trigger that same feeling. So this is how you can use it in your everyday life. Especially like if you're on the phone, with somebody that you have to have a confrontation with, and you're just like starting to get irritated and you feel it, by simply putting your hand onto your chest might calm you down instantly, right down. So you don't go into that irritation, and your confrontation doesn't turn into be a big blow up, and you can handle it a lot better. So that's the benefit of clearing out our mind, giving your time some space to clear out the mind, to come to a calmness, because we see life very differently in a calm space than we do in an irritated space. And the irritation, it's going to happen. I mean, we're human, and That's what happens. But we just don't want to stay in that irritation. You don't want to stay in irritation all day long. For one thing, it's going to impede on your sleeping at night. It's going to also start creating a lot of inflammation in your body. And as soon as the body starts to get inflamed, it starts to break down rapidly. And like I said, over the age of 55, the body breaks down very quickly. So we always want to stay in this restore and repair mode of our body, especially over the age of 55. I like teaching that population because I'm over 60, I'm almost 70, and I know what it's like to live in an older body. And I like to share these practices because they're really easy to do. And once you understand the principles of them, you can use them forever and refine them. And there's just many different hacks that I'll be talking about more that you can add into, I like to call it your medicine chest, your medicine, your toolbox that you can, pick and choose different practices to help with different situations. If you're really tired, there's things that you can do. When you're irritated, there's things that you can do. When you're in pain, there's things that you can do. So it is a great health plan for your lifespan. Okay, so let's get started. Like I said, you want to make sure that your feet are flat on the floor. You have maybe a cushion or something behind your back so you're not slouching. You're rooting down through the feet. Find your sit bones also. You want to be at the tip of the sit bones, not too far back, not too far forward, but that kind of right space, a place for your sit bones. And then the crown of the head, the energy is moving up. So you've got this lengthening naturally happen as you sit this way. Now you can close or soften your eyes. Just a little tidbit on this. If you close your eyes and you feel like you're going to go to sleep, because our bodies are already used to, when I close when you go to sleep, you close your eyes. So sometimes closing your eyes for this kind of practice, your brain will get tricked and go, oh, I'm going to sleep. If this happens to you, if you feel like you're going to go to sleep and it's making you really tired, then soften the eyes. Enough where you can still kind of see, but you're not in the full scope of what's going around. You're kind of narrowing your vision a little bit with softening the eyes. I particularly like closing my eyes. I'm used to it. It doesn't make me sleepy. But again, if it does for you, and this is where you're going to tweak it for your liking, then just soften the eyes just enough just to see a little bit of light, and that'll keep you awake. Okay, so let's get started. So close or soften your eyes. Your feet are touching the floor. Your head is lengthened, from the crown of the head is lengthening up, so your spine's nice and relaxed and straight at the same time. Relax your shoulders more towards the back of your body. Now, before we start, just think of a why. What would your why be to do this practice of a pause? What do you need to get from, learning how to quiet down or to stopping the chatter of the mind? What is it for you? And just get a word. And if it doesn't come up for you, that's fine. It'll maybe come up for you at another time, but eventually you want to get that word. And just hold on to that word. Just repeat it to yourself several times. And now we'll turn on our oxytocin by bringing both hands right to your heart space as you make this connection to self, for your self-love, thinking of something that you love. Just bring something to mind that you love to get that oxytocin hormone started. It's a deep self-love for oneself also, touching your heart space. And now we'll start to go into an anchor by bringing one hand to your belly and keeping that one hand to your upper chest. And we'll just take a couple of practice breaths here. As you inhale, feel the expansion of your belly into the ribs and into the upper chest. And then when you're ready, exhale from the upper chest to the ribs, to the belly. When you're ready, inhaling into the belly, into your ribs, into the chest. And then when you're ready, exhale from the upper chest, the ribs, and the belly. And now we'll start the counting to 9. So inhale 1 into the belly, the ribs, and your chest. When you're ready, exhale for 1 from the chest, the ribs, and the belly. When you're ready, inhale 2 into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And when you're ready, exhale from the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Inhale 3 into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. When you're ready, exhale for 3 from the ribs, from the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Inhale 4 into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. When you're ready, exhale 4 from the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Inhale 5 into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. When you're ready for 5 from the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Inhale for 6 into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. When you're ready, inhale 6 from the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Inhaling 7 into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. When you're ready, 7 from the chest, the ribs, and the belly as you exhale. Inhale 8 into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And then exhaling from the chest, the ribs, and the belly. When you're ready, inhale for 9 into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And when you're ready, exhale from the chest, the ribs, and the belly. And then suspend your hands onto your lap or your knees. Just noticing how you're feeling, if there was any change up at all. Feel the expansion of your breathing. Perhaps you feel a little bit more quiet, a little bit more softening, maybe a little bit more relaxation. Come back to your word. Maybe repeat the word several times to yourself. Or you can even say, I pause for whatever it is. Mine was ease, so I pause for ease. Bringing the hands together, still keep your eyes closed. Create a little bit of heat between the palms of your hands. Placing the palms of the hands onto your closed eyelids as you soothe your eyes. Open your eyes into the palms as you let a little bit of light in. And then slowly move the hands away from your face as you let more light in and more light in, like you're opening up a shade to a new day. You're opening up a shade to a new moment. And from the pause, then you can continue on with your day. So that's it. That was 5 minutes. Leave a comment if you have a question about that. If you didn't feel comfortable, leave a comment of what was not comfortable so I can fine tune it for you. Feel free to do that because it's a very powerful, easy practice to do once you understand the principle of it, once you've experienced it, and then you can adapt it into your lifestyle. I hope this helps. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again. I have lots of videos, and I'm going to try for the next few weeks to do these little hack-ins that we can learn how to do so you can add that into your own natural preventive medicine chest. Thank you so much, and namaste to everyone.